an actress with big potential. Then Brittany Murphy died young.
The Diddy scandal has taken an even darker turn, with allegation now suggesting he may have poisoned some people who knew incriminating things about him. Recent reports claim that new witnesses have joined the investigation, allegedly linking Diddy and Ashton Kutcher to the tragic death of actress Brittany Murphy. Both Murphy and Diddy's ex, Kim Porter, died young, with their causes of death ruled as pneumonia.
They have poisons that create heart attack and pneumonia-like symptoms.
And I've always seen the Brittany one, and it just furthers my suspicion. The connection is just getting eerier and eerier when I look at this photo and the parallels of how they died, the parallels of how they've had the same coroner, and also that they shared the same coroner with Michael Jackson.
Yeah. The eerie similarities combined with their connections to Diddy are fueling growing suspicions and leaving fans questioning if there's more to these stories than meets the eye. Now, over the years, Diddy has been rumored to have been behind some shocking stuff.
When
From
I'm
the
done
ending
with you,
to Tupac and Biggie, to allegedly wanted to end Kid Cudi because he wanted to date Cassie. But one rumor that has always stuck with Diddy was his involvement in the Brittany Murphy mysterious passing away. So, at first, Brittany's death was ruled as pneumonia combined with anemia and some over-the-counter meds. Sounds straightforward, right? Wrong. Then came the whole mole theory, where people thought she might have died from black mold poisoning. But guess what? No evidence of mold was ever found. So that theory was out. But here's where it gets really shady. Brittany's dad wasn't buying any of it, so he hired a private investigator, and boom, they allegedly found proof of heavy metal poisoning. And here's the kicker. It's supposedly the same kind of poisoning that's linked to Diddy's ex, Kim Porter. Now, this is where it gets super sketchy. Apparently, Brittany Murphy was telling her friends before her death that she was scared someone was out to get her, and even suspected she was being slowly poisoned. Now, the drama doesn't stop there. Rumor has it that Kim Porter also confided in her close friends that she was scared for her life too. The coincidences are just too much to ignore. And then, just a few months after Brittany's death, her husband, Simon, also died of the exact same thing. Pneumonia and anemia. Like, seriously, what are the odds? It all just makes you wonder what on earth was really happening behind closed doors. Like, do you see the pattern here? So, because of this, people have recently started connecting the dots, and what they found has left everyone shocked. So, people have been side-eyeing the official stories surrounding Brittany Murphy's death for years. And with new information bubbling up, it's looking like they might have been onto something. Especially when you throw in the bizarre connection between Diddy and Ashton Kutcher. We all know that Ashton and Diddy have been tight for years, which is interesting when you remember Ashton used to date Brittany Murphy, and yet after her tragic death, Ashton got weirdly quiet about her. Now, add the fact that Ashton's name keeps popping up in all those stories about Diddy's freak-off parties and disturbing allegations. Now Brittany was one of the biggest Hollywood stars in the early 2000s, bringing iconic performances in all her movies, and people genuinely loved her. However, her life behind the scenes took a dark and tragic turn, leading to her sudden and mysterious death at just 32 years old, and the mystery still haunts Hollywood to this day. So, back in 2009, on December 20th, to be exact, the LA Fire Department responded to a medical emergency at the home Brittany shared with her husband, Simon Monjack. Despite Simon's attempts to resuscitate her and being rushed to Cedars-Sinai Medical Center, Brittany tragically went into cardiac arrest, including the reported causes of pneumonia, anemia, and the presence of medications. Always had a couple of things that didn't add up. And this left fans and investigators with way more questions than answers. Now, what made the situation even more sus was Brittany's husband Simon passing just months later under eerily similar circumstances.
Wow.
Now, here's where things get really sketchy. Brittany's husband, Simon Monjack, actually didn't want an autopsy performed after her death, but legally he couldn't block it, so the Los Angeles County Coroner's Office went ahead with it the next day. A couple of months went by, and the coroner released the official report, ruling her death as accidental.
Okay.
Cause, pneumonia with anemia, head with it the next day. A couple of months went by, and the coroner released the official report, ruling her death as accidental. The cause? Pneumonia with anemia and multiple substance intoxication listed as contributing factors. But here's the weird part. According to ABC News, the coroner's spokesperson, Craig Harvey, initially refused to elaborate on the substances involved. Simone, meanwhile, insisted that Brittany didn't take anything dangerous. In an interview with People magazine, he claimed she was on herbal remedies that wouldn't speed up her heart. There was nothing here that could endanger her. Just some prescription meds for her time of the month and cough syrup. That's it. Naturally, fans couldn't help but feel like there was more to the story. Now, here's where things get even weirder. You see, Brittany's mom, Sharon, backed up Simon's claim, saying Brittany didn't use illegal substances or even drink alcohol. She initially thought Brittany's death might have been caused by an undiagnosed heart condition, but things take a darker turn when you hear Brittany had been complaining for weeks about feeling sick and even reportedly told people she thought she was being poisoned.
What?
Sharon, later Brittany, had been complaining for weeks about feeling sick and even reportedly told people she thought she was being poisoned. Sharon later admitted Brittany was paranoid someone was out to harm her. And get this, Brittany's house had CCTV cameras and even fingerprint recognition locks. Clear signs she was living in fear before her death. Then, the story got even stranger when reports of mold issues in the Hollywood Hills home surfaced. Both Simon and Sharon later suggested toxic mold could have played a role in Brittany's passing. But was that just a convenient excuse? Or something more sinister? Now the story gets even more suspicious. After the investigators requested for mold testing to be done after Brittany's death, but guess what? Both Simon and Sharon refused. If they truly believed mold was the issue, why block an inspection? It just doesn't add. Pathologist Dr. Richard Shepard dismissed the mold theory entirely, saying the autopsy showed no fungi in her bloodstream or lungs. So, that theory is out the window. But Brittany's fear of being poisoned, that's a huge red flag. In her final months, Brittany's behavior reportedly changed dramatically. She became paranoid, avoiding food and drinks from certain sources because she feared someone was out to harm her. According to some sources, she confided in close friends that she believed powerful people in Hollywood were watching her and had bad intent. And then there's her husband, Simon Monjack, a man surrounded by controversy. Not only was he much older than Brittany, but they met when she was just 17. Simon had a reputation for shady dealings, including allegations of fraud, and many of Brittany's friends believed he was taking advantage of her. Their relationship was riddled with red flags, and some people think Simon may have played a bigger role in the mystery surrounding Brittany's tragic death.
Alleges Monjack was a con artist, contributed to her death. Brittany's friend, actress Kathy Najimy, appears in the documentary.
During a little dip she was having, he came along. And I think that's where her judgment was muddled and she became prey. We all were scared and freaked out. Like, who was this guy?
And there's this shocking claim.
Simon said that he dated Elle McPherson and Madonna. He said that he had been dying from terminal brain cancer and that he had bought an experimental treatment derived from the fins of sharks. Every single word out of his mouth was a lie.
Now, this is where things get really creepy. Just 5 months after Brittany's death, Simon Monjack died the exact same way. Pneumonia and anemia. And when the mold theory was debunked, attention turned to something even darker. A few years later, Brittany's dad, Angelo Bertolotti, hired a private lab to investigate, and the results were chilling. They found high levels of heavy metals in Brittany's hair, far beyond normal. And these metals, the type typically found in rat poison or insecticides, Angelo outright said he believed his daughter was murdered. So, why didn't the initial autopsy catch this? Experts say the coroner's office wouldn't test for heavy metals unless poisoning was specifically suspected. But, hold on. Brittany had been voicing fears of being poisoned to her friends and family. Why wasn't this taken seriously? All these red flags, from her paranoia to the refusal to test for mold, were ignored. And when you add Sharon and Simon blocking key investigations, it just screams cover up. Speaking of Sharon, Brittany's mom, her behavior after Brittany's death raised even more eyebrows. Sharon lived with Brittany and Simon, and was known to be very close to her daughter. But after Brittany's death, rumors began swirling about Sharon and Simon's relationship, with some suggesting the two became uncomfortably close. It's just another bizarre twist in this already unsettling story, and the plot thickens, y'all. After Simon's death, Sharon sold the Hollywood Hills home immediately and suddenly stopped pushing the mole theory she had once supported. It's left everyone wondering, why wouldn't she demand deeper investigations into her daughter's suspicious death? If there were so many red flags, wouldn't a mother want answers? Fans have speculated that Sharon and Simon might have been involved in a cover-up, but what about the powerful Hollywood people Brittany was so afraid of? Some sources say Brittany was blacklisted for refusing to play the Hollywood game, which allegedly included steering clear of Diddy's notorious freak-off parties. Now, you might be wondering, how does Diddy fit into all this? Well, Brittany reportedly entered these circles through her connection to Ashton Kutcher, one of Diddy's closest friends. Brittany and Ashton started dating in late 2002 after meeting on the set of Just Married. Is this where Brittany's troubles began? The connections between Brittany, Diddy, and Ashton leave fans with so many questions. All right, y'all, let's dive deeper because Brittany and Ashton's story has some serious twists. Back when they were together, rumors flew that they were engaged because they were seen wearing matching rings, but that was never confirmed. Their romance was short-lived, lasting only 5 months, and allegedly ended because Ashton cheated with none other than Demi Moore, another rumored guest at Diddy's infamous parties. The timing was super suspicious because Ashton and Demi went public right after he and Brittany split, raising tons of red flags. But here's where it gets even darker. Recent speculation suggests Brittany, like Kim Porter, may have known too much about Diddy and Ashton's party activities. And get this, anonymous sources have reportedly reached out to the feds with evidence that Brittany discovered disturbing details about Diddy and Ashton's alleged behavior at those freak-off parties. These claims involve deeply troubling acts, and it's rumored Brittany began questioning Ashton's close ties to Diddy before her death. But wait, there's more. A celebrity medium, Sloan Bella, recently claimed that powerful Hollywood figures, including Diddy, allegedly harvest energy during these so-called rituals involving young people. Sloan also alleged that Kim Porter found out about these rituals and was planning to expose them in her tell-all book before her untimely passing. Young people. Sloan also alleged that Kim Porter found out about these rituals and was planning to expose them in her tell-all book before her untimely passing. Now reports are surfacing that Brittany may have uncovered similar information, and her suspicions about Ashton's connections with Diddy might have put her in danger. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. What do you make of Brittany and Kim's eerily similar deaths? And do you think Brittany's knowledge of Diddy and Ashton's alleged activities could have played a role in her tragic passing? Drop your theories below, and let's talk.
CNN just dropped a shocking story that's sending Hollywood into a frenzy. According to their sources, they've uncovered new evidence that might link Ashton Kutcher to the mysterious death of Brittany Murphy. And Kutcher and Diddy, two of the biggest players in Hollywood, have had a long friendship. But the word on the street, their bond isn't as straightforward as it seems. Insiders are buzzing about strange phone calls, secret meetups, and a murky backstory that might reveal even more scandalous details. This all started back in the early 2000s when Kutcher was hosting Punk'd on MTV. He planned to prank Diddy, who at the time was focused on making the band and scouting for new talent. But Diddy wasn't having it. He reportedly told Ashton to scrap the idea, which Ashton did. That seemingly small moment actually sparked their bond. According to Diddy, I called Ashton and said, "I heard you're going to punk me." Not a good idea. And that was the beginning. Their friendship grew from there, with Diddy later praising Ashton as a sounding board and calling them yin and yang. Fast forward to today, and fans can't help but notice suspicious coincidences and questions Ashton's silence amid the recent allegations. It's one thing to stay quiet, but Ashton's radio silence is deafening. Some legal experts say it's a smart move, considering the severity of the situation. But others are pointing out that it isn't just Diddy with whom Ashton shares questionable ties. It's a known fact that Ashton has a charity called Thorn, aimed at protecting children online. Yet recent controversies around the organization's transparency have raised red flags. Ashton stepped down from Thorn amid backlash over Thorn's questionable associations. And if that's not enough, this isn't Ashton's only shady friendship. Fans remember how he quickly shut down any questions about Diddy's notorious parties when he appeared on Hot Ones in 2019. "Got a lot of stories I can't tell," he said, changing the subject. There's more. Ashton even helped organize one of Diddy's famed white parties on July 4, 2009, the same year of Murphy's tragic passing. Ashton's silence now, as news resurfaced.